Well, good morning. Today is Saturday, September 25th, 2021, and today I'm going to make the second video in a series of 4, and it's about how to install a whole tow system, a whole tow package for our tow vehicle, a Fiat 500 Turbo. And in this video here, which is the second in the series, I will focus on how to install the base plate. The base plate is this beam sitting up in the front of the car where we attach the tow arms from the tow or from the motorhome down to the tow vehicle. So to do this, we need to take off the whole front fender, all the plastic fairing there, and get back in and remove the bumper that is already sitting underneath there and replace it with this tow bar. So I hope you will enjoy this, and it's definitely a do-it-yourself project. It can be done. I'm doing it here in the campground next to our motorhome, so it's something you can do yourself. So today we are going to attempt at least to install a complete tow system for this Fiat 500 so that we can tow it after our motorhome here. We need to install a tow bar here in the front behind this here, so all this needs to come off so we can bolt it into the frame there. And then there will be an electrical kit so that we have connection to the tail lights, so that when we brake the motorhome that the tail lights will react as well. So here are basically all the boxes and all the parts for it. You can see the first here, that's the box with the tow bar. That's the first thing we will try to install, and that part here needs to be bolted into the frame of the car, so we need to get access to that. So that's the biggest deal. After that we will go over to this here, which is electrical kit that will connect the tail lights, and these wires needs to be pulled from the rear end of the vehicle all the way up to the front grille and end in a plug up there. Of course we have the coiled cable. That's the one that you use to connect the motorhome to the car with. Then over here we have the complete tow bar kit. That's the tow bar itself, it's in here. Then after that we have the Patriot 3 braking system that connects to a unit that sits under the steering column up front in the car, and that will be the last thing we install. And then this here, that's a protective cover to put over the tow bar so we don't get rock chips and damages to the paint on the car. So let's look a bit about the tools needed for this operation. You will need a socket kit first of all, and in this case here, the car we are installing on is a Fiat 500. That's an Italian car, so I will expect that most of the sockets we need, there will be metric. So I have a kit here that has both the SAE and also the metric, because that will be needed. We will need a screwdriver with different bit sizes, and over here is a torque measuring device, so we can get the right torque value on the bolts for the tow bar where we bolt them onto the frame. We have this little plier here, and that's basically because, let me show you, here at the front grille we need to cut these here to make room for the connection points for the tow bar in both sides. They need to come out front here, and we also need to cut holes for the electrical plug that will be mounted there. Then I expect we will need a kit here where we have different tools to remove the trim. We have all these plastic connectors there that needs to be taken off. They can be a bit tricky, so I have a small kit here with different plastic tools that can be used to remove those without damaging the paint of the car. So that's basically the tools I expect that we'll be using. And I just want to show you the condition I'm doing this job under. We are here at our campground. It's hot out today. It's close to 90 degrees. But we have had over 104 here the previous week, so it's cooled down a little bit. But I just put a carpet out on the gravel here at the campground, and that's where I intend to do the job. The first part of the project here will be to remove this front piece here, and to that we need to open underneath here to gain access to these different screws that are sitting here. So these screws here, and you can see they sit with Torx. That is the first we will be removing. So we will simply start by removing these four here. Come off fairly easy. We'll also need a tiny set of sockets with a ratchet here, and it's mainly to use it with normal Phillips bits. And what we will need it for is to get into the wheel wells up here and loosen the wheel well itself when we have to pull the wires back. If we don't have that, we can't get up with a screwdriver here. It's not space, so then we will have to take all the wheels off. So by having these small bits, that helps doing that easier. And in the wheel well there are three small screws, Phillips screws, sitting there, there and there. And this is where this little toolkit comes into play, because you can see you can't get a screwdriver in between here. So we need this little kit here where we use this ratchet with a Phillips bit on it. So you can see with this one here we can easily get in and get to these screws, and it's a piece of cake to remove them. Next we have to go underneath the bumper here, and you can see here where it meets the wheel well there are two Phillips screws, one on each side, and those needs to be removed next. So we will use the same wrench again as before, this little one here, and we will be able to loosen those. And of course the same in the other side. And here underneath, we are here underneath the bumper. We have 3 more screws. There's one sitting there, there's one in the middle, and one here on the other side. And these are Torx, so we need to use a torque bit like this, and we will use the same tool as before, just with a different bit. So with the bottom screws removed, I have to pull out here on the plastic cover here in the wheel well, and you can see in here we have another screw. It's also a torque bit sitting up there. So we have one of those in each side, and they need to come out too. When first you get the wrench in there, it is possible to get it out. And now I have it loose. I can take it with the fingers. It can help to turn the wheel a little bit. I turned it a little inwards to create more space here, and that helped. So that one. And now we have all screws removed from this piece here, so we should be able to start pulling it out gently, starting here in this area. We'll try that, and we should be able to simply pop it out. And if it's a bit stuck, we can use this tool here to get behind and see if we can help it a bit. And here it comes. With that done, loosened up, you can see we have some connections for the lights in here. There's this one, and we need to remove that one, and there's this one. So it goes to the signal light, and you also have out here for this, and and for the fog light there. So these needs to be pulled out. So here we have the whole unit with the bulb, and then we have the other green one here. It needs a screwdriver to help it a bit. Easy. And then we have to repeat the same in the other side. Pull this out really gently. This is where you need these trim removal tools. They might be a good idea to buy a few of. And here they came. And again, same process. Remove those, and we need to remove this one. And here it came. Oh, there's one more connector here, I see. So we might have to loosen that one too. Okay, and here we go. we have the whole bumper unit off, and we can put that away. That now gave us free access to the front of the car, and you can see here we have all the connection points where we need to bolt on our base plate or tow bar onto. If you look at the car we have here, this is a good example of why it's good to contact Blue Ox before you do any ordering of parts, because in this case you can see it's a turbo model, and that means the turbocharger is sitting here in front of the engine, and that means this whole piece here sticks further out on the turbo model. So you need the right tow bar that fits that model, which has the turbo engine. The next step in the process is to remove this plastic air deflector that sits here in front, and you have two screws here, one here and you have one in here, and these are using 8mm sockets, so that's metric. So we'll do that next. No, they're smaller, they're not 8mm. That's a 6. And now it just sits with some small snaps here that you can kind of tilt, and the whole thing comes off. We'll put it here. Next we have this bumper unit here that needs to be removed, because that's where our base plate needs to be mounted. So we need to take these 4 bolts off. They are similar on the lower side. And these here, they use 15mm metric. So we take the bigger set we have here, and I think we need an extension for it so we can reach it. So we'll put that on. And that's hot. It's been sitting out in the sun. Oh my. And we simply loosen those. There will be 8 of these bolts for an inside. The last screw or bolts we have remaining are these here, and as you can see there are 10 sockets, also metric. This one I'll just loosen lightly, and then take the bottom one here. And the bumper is loose. We can now remove it completely. And just for showing you, this is what happens to the bolts. I put them in a little plastic container so I don't lose any. See, now it's time to put the new base plate in place, and this one is heavy, but I'll see, just to help myself here, I'll just put 1 bolt in each side just to hold it in place here. And we use the same factory bolts as were there before, and do the same in the other side. Okay, and you can see now the new base plate is sitting where it's supposed to sit, and this here is where the tie points will connect to here on both sides. So that's, yeah, and when it's hot like this today, it's important that you stop and have a drink once in a while. Now it's time to torque these bolts here, and they need to be torqued correctly. And if you look at the head of the bolt, it says 8.8, and that we need to use because we have to hold that up against the torque specifications here. These are metric bolts. They are 10 millimeter and grade 8.8, you can see, is a 31 foot-pounds of torque. That's what we need to reach. Well, unfortunately this one requires a 1/2 inch socket there, but I only have 1/4 inch, so we have to improvise a bit. I have set the torque meter for 31, so we need to hear it beeping. There it is. We now have these safety cables here. There are 2 of them, and in this bag here we have some quick links, and we basically need to take the cables around this bracket here, come out on the back side, and then the 2 ends here needs to meet here and be connected with the quick link. So we'll try to do that. So we basically take this here and put it around, pull it out here. And we will merge them here. Take this through and take this through here, and then we will put it down here. So these are the safety chains. So in case the bolts break, this will hold it up. Now it's time to take the front bumper here and try to lift it in place as good we can. We need to mark up where these points here, where they come through down in the grill that you can see. We have this grill here, and we need to cut holes for these to come through. So basically what I did is that these stick out the furthest, so I marked them up first, can push it a bit further into place, and then I'll mark up for these. And I'll try to use this little one for cutting. If it doesn't work, I have a bigger one. A more powerful cutter. So I have this sheet metal cutter here. We'll try with that. That cuts through like butter. Let's see if the holes were big enough. Also looks like this one will. So that was good. These holes work perfect. And with all these holes cut out and the beam in front mounted, now it's time to reinstall the bumper and the whole front of the car. So that's basically the reverse process of how we took it off. Exactly the same. So we will start with the 2 screws over here in the corner from the inside, the tricky ones. We will go underneath and take those. Then we will take the ones here at the bumper, and then we will end up with the ones up here. So that's the process now. Well, and now I have to see if I can get these screws back up here. They're a bit complicated. So I need a torque for this one that fits here. Then I need to get in there and bend the fender back a bit so there's room for it. You can kind of see where it goes. It goes right there. So getting everything back on after mounting the tow bar goes really smooth. When first you have taken it off, you know where every screw goes, so it's very easy. And now it's the ones here at the bottom. Let's see if we can get to some of those. Now with the front fender mounted, it all looks like this. So you can kind of see the cutouts we have here for the mounting points, and we have these here that will go in to these holes, and you pull this plug and you lock it with this pin, release it there, and then it sits. So that's the towing point. And here we have it all installed. So we have these here that come on and off like this. And this is where the safety chain connects to. And here is where our 6-prong cable from the motorhome will connect to. So it should all be there now. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you really got some information out of it, and I hope that it can help you if you want to go ahead with a DIY project, installing a full tow package on your tow vehicle. It's not that difficult. I would say on a scale from 1 to 5, we are perhaps at a 3.5 with this part of the job. It's not really difficult. The most complicated is perhaps to get the plastic fairings off without breaking them. So here you need to be very careful and make sure you have the right tools for removing the fairings. But if you like this video, please hit the like and the subscribe button to make sure you can see the rest of the videos in this series. And you are very welcome to share if you know anyone else who is trying to install their own tow system. So just share it on Facebook or wherever you feel like.